Hi, my name's Karen Edwards. I'm a storyteller and I'm out here on Owey Island. I'm going to tell you a story about the Owey Regatta. It's always been the tradition on Owey Island that the young people will race their sailing boats, their toy sailing boats every year. Sometimes the boats are old ones that are raced year after year with a new coat of paint applied. But this year, Lorcan had decided to make a new boat. His dad was a joiner, and he had watched how his father would use the chisel and the plane to smooth and cut the wood to suit his needs. Lorcan loved working with wood, and now he worked away tirelessly in the barn, making his own sailboat for this year's regatta. He painted it a beautiful yellow colour with nice yellow gloss, and when it was cut to his satisfaction, he painted a name on the side of it. He called it the Saoirse, which was Irish for freedom. After tea, he rigged the sails and added a few bird feathers to finish it off for decoration. That night, Lorcan could hardly sleep with excitement. He dreamed finally of winning the Owey Regatta, because if he did, he would be carried down on the shoulders of his friends and he would be declared the King of Owey for that year. Next morning, when he got up, Lorcan was delighted. The weather was perfect. It was dry with a nice, gentle southerly breeze, just right for nudging the boats across the lake. All the Owey residents gathered, and they walked up the lane to the back of the island together, up the heather lane, where on either side the bog cotton waved in the breeze, and the butterflies danced ahead of them. Young people would be proudly holding their boats and holding the hands of parents who would come to cheer them on. At the top of the lane, they took a turn to the left, up the hill, up to where the lake nestled in under Wheelie War, the highest point on the island. The sandy shores were lapped by the water. The Owey fishermen would take their nets up there to get them cleaned. They would put the nets into the water and leave them soaking for days, and hundreds of little fish would nibble away at the remains of the catch, leaving the nets as clean as a whistle. Some people liked to soak their feet in the lake and get rid of the rough skin, but Lorcan hated the feel of the fish nibbling at his toes. When the people looked out beyond the lake, there was nothing but the great swell of the ocean, for there was no land between the north shore of Owey Island and the United States of America. Suddenly, it was time for the race to start. Frank Gallagher gave a hand signal and the boats were released. The breeze nudged them across the lake. Some of the older ones, which had woodworm, just sank immediately. Others stayed upright, but none looked as if they had a chance of catching the Saoirse. Soon she was beaching on the north shore. Her slim keel had cut through the ripples like a knife, and she was the most definite winner of that year. Lorcan was lifted up on the shoulders of Paul and Owen and carried down to the village, declared the King of the Owey Regatta. That night, the St. John's Eve bonfire would be lit, and it would be Lorcan who would have the honour of lighting it. That was going to be his night of fame, and not just that night, but for many days to come. Thank you.